Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Ted, some of my esteemed colleagues.
I'm Nate.
I'm Dave.
And today we're going to talk about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons diseases out of the DMG.
Yeah, you got to watch some of those houses of ill repute you visit.
Indeed, or some of those monsters that might be carrying some stuff.
So, okay, diseases in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Pretty much, right up front, they're like, this can be whatever you want. This is a plot device.
And on top of that, if there's anything you don't like about it, go ahead and change anything.
Unless, of course, right, this made me think, we were reading through the DMG. Actually, earlier we were doing our poison video. We were looking at poison. I'm like, there's disease right here. Should we do them together or separate or whatever? But so we decided to shoot a quick video on diseases. It lists a couple sample diseases, but that got me thinking. I'm like, well, there's a couple monsters in the monster manual that also inflicts you with disease. 2 off the top of my head I could think of, and actually 3, but the one I'm not sure about now.
So Adiug and Rat.
And the giant rat, yeah.
They're known to give sewer plague.
No. In there, yes, but no, in there they get... In the monster manual, it's their own separate thing, and it's different than that.
Okay.
I think this is actually what happens if you come in contact with an area that has been contaminated by giant rats and adiugs.
So you could get them both.
You could technically get them both.
Wow.
But, yeah, because it's completely different. Because the adiug disease is... Let's see... If a target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw against disease, which is way worse than that.
Oh yeah.
Or become poisoned until the disease is cured. So right there, that's the poison condition, I believe, because
right,
it says
yes.
you're poisoned.
Right.
Which means you should kind of pretty much suck at everything. Every 24 hours that elapse, the target must repeat the saving throw, reducing hit point maximum by 5 or die 10 on a failure. The disease is cured on a success. The target dies if the disease reduces the hit points maximum to 0. Again, it's another one of those things, along with like the necrotic attacks, that actually reduces
the maximum hit points.
Your maximum hit points, meaning you can't cure that because, that's the top end. So, you could beat the adiug and still get killed by it.
Absolutely.
So does it still go up a level if it's dead?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're allowed to successfully.
It becomes an undead adiug.
Oh,
nice.
It lives again.
I think there was one of those in one of the various monster manuals. So it used to be called Filth Fever.
Right.
That used to be the actual name for the disease.
So what is it? What is it called there?
Nothing. It's unnamed.
Okay. Well, then you can also get sewer plague on top of fighting that adiug.
Yeah. If you hang out in the adiug's trash pit.
Looking for treasure.
Which
you do.
I'm so doing that from now on when someone looks for treasure. Oh, damn, you guys are in my parties. Were you wearing gloves? I don't think so.
I disinfect the whole area with fire and hope that magic items don't get burned.
Yeah. Don't worry, it was only all scrolls. They'll be fine. So they give a couple samples. And again, I just
without going into the actual content of all of these descriptions. One of the things that I actually think is really neat is they've got 3 different diseases here listed as examples, and each one has a different quote unquote win condition, way to cure it. Sight rot can only be cured if you find the ingredient it takes to cure it.
Oh, the eyebright flower.
Yes, you can't just I get better. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Or you need magic. Like nice magic, like lesser restoration or heal.
Right. But you're not getting better yourself. Sewer plague, you have to basically rest it away. If you do anything, you can get exhausted, and you have to pass enough saves that your exhaustion goes away.
For it to be cured.
For it to be completely cured. With Cackled Fever...
I love Cackled Fever. There's so many things to love about this one. Like, there's all these different things that can trigger an episode, which in essence makes you make another saving throw.
Right.
One of them is, I had a bad dream.
I had a nightmare.
If you get scared, have a nightmare.
Engage in combat. Do anything stressful, and I gotta make a save.
And if you fail and start laughing and cackling, your party members
can get infected.
Have to make a saving throw. Say everyone passes a saving throw but one guy. You're a party of 5, right?
You're all in combat.
You're all in combat. 2 of you are now affected, But, everyone's safe from the first guy that was infected because they passed their saving throw except for that one guy. But now he starts laughing. Then everybody else
Yeah, it's another one.
has to make a save
save,
against
yeah.
that guy. If he infects just one guy, it keeps on going. Imagine if this happens and you're in a crowded tavern or a market square or something. How long does it take for it to kick in?
Symptoms manifest 1d4 hours after infection.
So, yeah. But...
Oh, if it was instantaneous, it would be great.
It would be hilarious.
But
We can make that happen.
Yeah.
it says you
All
can
that
change
time, 1
anything you
minute.
want. Make a change in anywhere you want.
1 round.
Unless you're a gnome, and then gnomes just laugh at you laughing.
So, but the way to cure Cackle Fever, it says at the end of a long rest, you make a con check. If you succeed, the DC now drops by a D6, and you are completely cured when its DC drops to 0. The mechanic of all of that is so different from everything else.
It is. And what's the DC start at?
13. So
Okay.
it takes at least 3. Possibly as many as 13.
Yeah, it could take a
Yeah.
while.
So
if you're-
average 3 to 6.
If
let's
you're
say,
really unlucky and you fail 3 times,
Oh yes.
If you fail 3 times,
This is a
you,
bit of
you
awesome.
gain a randomly determined form of indefinite madness.
but you're not diseased anymore.
You're not
and that's
diseased
described
anymore.
later in the chapter.
So you get, you can have all kinds of crazy stuff happen. And these are just some of the, they just have 3 examples in here. And go ahead and make up anything you want. And, use it as a, something that the party is trying to cure, or, just have it, and have that be the scope of your campaign, or just the scope of tonight's session.
So we said we got what we got in there. We got Adiugs, we have giant rats. Now, mummy rot used to actually be a magical disease, and now the wording almost makes it sound like a curse, but it still works the same way the diseases work. So in my campaigns, I might just leave it a magical disease. Just 'cause, I don't know, I like it that way.
I think it works better as a disease.
So mummy rot is basically from, let's just look at a regular mummy, only a CR3. So if a target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or be cursed with the mummy rot. The cursed target can't regain hit points, and its hit point maximum decreases by 10 or 3d6 for every 24 hours. So it works exactly like a disease. The only difference is you need remove curse spell or some other kind of more powerful magic to get rid of it. Your maximum hit points going down by 3d6 a day. That's kind of brutal. I mean, DC 12, not so bad. But now we talk Mummy Lord, then you're looking at a DC 16. I'm kind of surprised that the damage doesn't change. It still stays the same. So, again, that's another, I guess, example of a disease, in my opinion. I mean, it was in previous editions, and, sometimes I'm old and crotchety and slow to change.
So, any other remarks on diseases?
Well, I wrote an article a while back about diseases and plagues and poxes, and you can find that on Nerdarchy.
Yeah, what sparked that article?
Well,
It was pre-DMG.
Yeah, it's pre-DMG. I was thinking about running a campaign, and I was looking and saying, well, there's diseases going on right now. At the time, it was like the Ebola epidemic just started. So, to me, I was like, that's kind of like a real-world thing that is also used in games for plot devices and stuff. So, I just kind of got inspired by real-world events and decided to write it down.
And that's always a great way to do
So,
campaign stuff.
does reading this section of DMG change how you feel about what you wrote previously?
I feel like it was good. My article, I think, kind of went along with this, not into the depth of creating your own diseases, but I basically said, important thing is to name it, and give its effect. That's kind of like for mine. I think it was I just picked a river, like the Amazon River, and then I said, well, let's so the Amazon River, you could say like Amazon Fever or something because it's coming from the river.
Right.
But instead, I was like, well, let's just change it to a name so it's obviously fantasy, so it's like Alaria. And it was like, well, what does it do? Well, does it make them sweat? Does it make them, have fevers? So I was like, well, how about it makes them weep or something? So it's called Alaria's Tears or something like that. So this idea that eventually, I think it caused blindness. I'm not really sure. Or no, dehydration. It was a magical disease that
Made you cry yourself to death?
yeah.
What you do? Crying, little baby? Crying yourself to death, little baby?
Yeah, crying to yourself until you're a husk. And then the idea was a wizard, a necromancer had made the disease customized for gaining ready bodies. So he basically had perfectly preserved bodies to animate in that way because they would cry themselves into husks.
Nice.
So you couldn't actually die from crying. Unless there's a weird disease out there I don't know about. But so that's why I made it a magic disease. And besides, because the necromancer created it, it also, had that magical component to it. So it's named after the river area where it
now
came
I'm
from.
curious if a person can really cry themselves to death or not.
Maybe you could mess up the electrolyte balance in your body if you cried too much salt out.
All the moisture just goes right out the tear ducts.
I think there's a certain point where it just doesn't happen anymore. I think there's a safety valve.
Nice.
Be like, we're gonna die soon.
Yeah, but isn't that the point? Isn't that kind of the point of a disease? It like breaks down safety valves and stuff like that.
This is true. A backup in some kind of system, inflammation, or maybe it breaks those.
I mean, that's the problem. That's when you have a disease. The real problem is the fact that it's doing something to you that isn't normal.
That's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we are talking about magic and fantasy. So.
Yeah. Well, that's why I made it a magic necromantic disease.
I'm pulling the magic right out of his magic disease.
Well, so yes, it could also be. I mean, Cackling Fever. I thought it was a magic disease right off the top, but it says it's a regular disease. I'm like, well, yeah, it's like kind of like dementia, some kind of weird thing in the brain. It could be like bacteria in your brain or something that makes you wacko, or you defeat it. That kind of thing. So,
or a little piece of it stays with you forever.
I was reading some of the Indefinite Madness. I was like,
yeah, they're fun.
I was like, short-term madness. No, that's not so bad. I was like, oh wait, it's indefinite madness.
I've discovered that I really like killing people.
Yeah. Being drunk keeps me sane. I must bend the truth, exaggerate, or outright lie to be interesting to other people.
There's only one person I can trust, and only I can see my special friend.
And I can't take anything serious. The more serious the situation, the funnier I find it. I mean, it's definitely crazy talk. I mean, it's definitely crazy things people do. But yeah, out of the 100 die roll, you get 4 of those 100 die roll is, I'm now a mass murderer, or I'm now a psycho.
Nice.
So yeah, that Cackling Madness on a, like 100,000 people get infected with that.
Here we go.
City,
I think we might know someone that has this.
That city is going down. That is bad news for that city. There's going to be people running around killing people. There's going to be drunks doing all kinds of stuff. It's like.
Here's one that I think we actually know people that have this one. I am the smartest, wisest, strongest, fastest, and most beautiful person I know.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
Now, any one of those, thinking that could just be a character flaw, or true, but all of them at once is definitely insanity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, the thing about the madness, it's not like, oh, you really like killing people, or being drunk keeps me sane. Well, you think that. It doesn't actually occur, so you just become a drunk.
Slobbery drunk.
Whatever kind of drunk you are. An angry drunk, a philosophical drunk, Nice. So when you've got madness, at least be entertaining to the rest of the players, because you're certainly an inconvenience.
So there's a lot of fun stuff here. I mean, you can do a lot with with madness all by itself, but having it happen because of a disease, can be just as crazy.
Wow, I'm getting so many ideas for our games.
Cackling Fever is happening in the next game I play.
So what do you think? Have we cured this disease?
I don't know, or piqued my curiosity about them even further. Now I want to run mad scientist experiments.
Yeah,
on
I'm already
players.
making different strands and viability here.
There you go.
And they all are strands of Cackle Fever.
Yes, and yes.
So if you guys have any comments or suggestions, you want to put them down below. While you're doing that, click like, subscribe, even share.
You guys can find us on nerdarchy.com.
You can also check us out on the Nerdarchy subreddit, How to Stay Nerdy.
So until next time,
Stay
stay nerdy.
Nerdy.